Some people say land is just land. Dirt, weeds, maybe a few mosquitoes if you're lucky. But that's not how we saw it. And definitely not how Aunt Ruby saw it. So when Vivian Starling rode up in her white Escalade and ordered a backhoe to start tearing into the northwest corner of our family ranch, the one spot nobody had touched in 4 generations, I knew something bad was about to go down. She stood there in her spotless pantsuit, walkie-talkie in hand, backing orders like she was running a battlefield. Kept saying how that patch was barren, useless even for chickens, and how it'd make great filler for some HOA pond at the clubhouse. Thing is, that dirt. It wasn't empty. It was quiet. There's a difference. I was standing maybe 30 yards off, coffee going cold in my hand, just watching. I'm not a superstitious guy, but I trust patterns and instincts. Spent almost 2 decades at NASA working with data that had to be right the first time. And when my drone picked up strange heat signatures out in that exact corner, let's just say I didn't sleep much after that. Vivian didn't care. She was HOA president now, the kind who thought a title made her queen of the county. I told her flat out that she was digging on private land. Showed her GPS coordinates, Aunt Ruby's old hand-drawn maps, even pages from her journals. Vivian didn't flinch. Just waved the thick folder in my face, said I'd sign off on it all as part of some beautification initiative. Except I hadn't. And Aunt Ruby. She never once used a computer, let alone sign anything digitally. The signature on that file was a bad fake, pixelated and off-center. Somebody thought because we lived out in the sticks, we couldn't spot a forgery. Only one person on site seemed uneasy, Diesel Murphy. Ex-Marine, steady hands, worked every kind of machinery you can imagine. He shuffled over, eyes darting, and told me his metal detector had been freaking out ever since they broke ground. Said the readings were spiking like something big, heavy, and definitely not natural was buried underneath. I launched my drone again, toggled to the EM sensor package I helped build back at NASA, and there it was, solid, cylindrical, pulsing with energy. Not a rock. Not a tank. Something else entirely. And Vivian. She was back on the phone, whispering. Watching the dig like a hawk. I could tell then this wasn't just some HOA landscaping project. No way. She knew what she was looking for. She'd paid for a private geological survey, 40 grand worth of scans. She didn't stumble onto that spot. She aimed for it. And she wasn't walking alone. I warned her. Told her to shut it all down, there might be a pipeline, maybe even federal infrastructure. You know what she did? Laughed. Told the crew I was some washed-up engineer chasing conspiracy theories. Then Diesel hit 4 feet. His detector let out a high-pitched scream. I knew that sound. Hydrogen sulfide. Pressurized gas. That wasn't dirt he was stirring, it was a sealed system. I ran. Back to the ranch house, straight into Ruby's old archive in the basement, every journal she'd written since 1989. Tucked between hand-sketched maps and weather notes were Polaroid men in hazmat suits, black SUVs, floodlights in the night. She'd written, they said it was for water. But water doesn't need radiation monitors. It wasn't a pipeline. It was a buried military-grade energy route defense infrastructure, laid in '89 to supply emergency fuel to installations across 3 states. Classified. Hidden. And we just scraped the lid off it. I brought everything: photos, journal entries, digital readings down to the courthouse. Judge Wong listened. Gave us 48 hours. A temporary stop order. But Vivian's lawyers hit back hard. Claimed I was delusional, unstable. Said my NASA termination made me untrustworthy. Then Elena showed up. My old colleague. She'd run a satellite thermal sweep from her university lab. What she found backed everything: metallic anomalies, pressurized systems, all active. Buried 4 feet deep, exactly where Diesel was digging. Back at the site, Diesel had ordered his crew out. I fired up a live stream, figured if they were gonna cover this up, at least someone would see it first. That's when it happened. A hiss. Then a deep roar. And a column of blue flame punched 10 feet into the Texas sky. Natural gas. Under pressure. Ignited from breach. Vivian came unglued. Blamed Diesel. Said he went off plan. But she didn't look shocked. Not once. Just calculated. Like she was already running damage control in her head. Elena called again. Thermal imaging showed matching subsurface patterns: Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico. This wasn't just about our land. It was a network. Strategic. And someone was mapping it, node by node. And then Ruby. Out of nowhere, she stepped onto the porch, clear-eyed, journal in hand. Looked me square in the face and said, "I never forgot a thing, Ethan. I've been CIA since '87. My knees nearly gave out." Turns out, Ruby had spent her so-called retirement monitoring foreign activity right here, quiet little towns nobody'd expect. Her Alzheimer's. An act. To stay invisible. She documented it all, every truck, every accent, every hush-hush meeting. And Vivian. She wasn't just grabbing land. She was funneling intel coordinates, dig logs, infrastructure scans straight to foreign investors. Director Serachin from the Defense Infrastructure Protection Agency landed by noon. The gas breach had triggered federal alerts. She listened to the drone audio, Vivian saying the operation had to continue, casualties be damned, because the money had already changed hands. They raided 3 more sites that day. All matched Ruby's maps. All compromised. Vivian. She was done. Cuffed. Hauled off. Not with outrage but tears. Said she never meant for it to go that far, she was just broke. And someone offered help. Yeah. That's how it starts. She got 25 years. The HOA dissolved. Federal oversight swept in. And in the center of it all, they built something new, the Ruby Nakamura Community Science Center. Named for a woman who remembered everything when it mattered most. As for me, NASA offered me my job back. Promotion, even. But I told them no thanks. My job now is right here. Watching this land. Because once you know what lies beneath, you don't forget. So here's my question: if someone came to tear up your family's truth, would you walk away? Or would you light the whole damn thing up? Tell me in the comments. Because sometimes what we bury says more about us than what we build.